Sleepy Hollow Season 3, Episode 8, Novus Ordo Seclorum. Hopefully I said that right, because it's a really weird name. But this is the fall finale, so we aren't going to get any more Sleepy Hollow until January. And I think this was actually a pretty cool episode especially the way it ended. I think they ended on a pretty good cliffhanger because not only does Abbie quit the FBI, and they also make it seem like there's something really secretive going on there, because after she quit, it's like, oh, this asset that we were trying to cultivate, that says a lot about how important Abbie was to whatever other mission they have. Clearly it was something beyond, getting Nivens. So there was something else going on there, which probably ties into the whole she has eyes watching her as well thing. But there's something going on there, so that was kind of like two little cliffhangers in one, because she quit, and now there's like some other extra thing. And also after they save Jenny, she takes the power from the orb and goes into the tree, which I guess sent her into hell, maybe? Somewhere else, clearly. So I don't know what they're going to do when they kind of bring things back. I highly doubt that it'll just be like, oh, she came back. So we're probably going to have to get some answers just through the next episodes. Where she went, what happened, how do they get her back, what exactly happened since she took all that power, she took the rest of it out of Jenny. I guess it's probably 98% of it or something, 90% is probably in the new villain. I forgot the character's name. It's not Osiris. They do say the name during the recap, they talk about it, but it's some god, whoever it is, it doesn't matter. He has most of his power back, and then Abbie's able to take the rest of it out of Jenny, and now she's wherever. So I don't know if that leftover power is going to mean anything. It might not, because it barely worked anyway, because he just crushed the rock so that they couldn't take the rest of the power. But Abbie made it work, and so since she has all the crystals or the little pieces of the rock, she could probably just scatter it, so the rest of that power is just gone for good. But she's gone. I don't know what to really expect from that. I mean, she basically walked into this tree. She vanishes. They kind of defeat the enemies in this episode. I mean, they didn't kill them or anything, but they did save Jenny, so in this case they did win. But ultimately not much happened outside of, as far as the fight goes. It kind of seems like they lost a little bit, because they saved Jenny, and then it's like, well, now we lost Abbie. Who knows what's going to happen there. I'm looking forward to seeing it, because I really hope that we get to see where that tree was taking Pandora and where it took Abbie. And maybe it'll lead back to the underworld or something like that, or just some other place we haven't seen. Maybe they'll do Purgatory or something this season. I don't really know, but I feel like we're going to see something different when we get back to the show in the new year. So I'm really looking forward to that. Abbie was totally called out on for some of the stuff that happened, as far as her using or tricking the people in the FBI truck and everything. She got called out on that before she quit. She got called out on the fact that Nivens was completely killed by Pandora. It's like, oh, all this, stuff, all this crazy stuff is happening. When we finally have the guy, he wants to talk to you, and then poof, he's dead. So she was called out on all the weird stuff that's happening, of course. And ultimately she just quit, because it's like, well, more than this job, I have to save my sister, which I completely understand why she'd say that. And now, like I said, we just have to see, which the FBI thing is clearly going to have to wait, because now she's not even on Earth anymore. So, things just in a row she's got to deal with at this point. But I'm looking forward to them coming back to it, because it was some really great cliffhanger stuff. I mean, that was really the best part of the episode, was the cliffhanger thing. The cliffhangers that actually get introduced in this episode, because everything else was just sort of a normal episode. It was alright, the mission is to save Jenny, and they do. And they have the part where Nivens doesn't want to talk to anyone except for Abbie. And I'm curious what he was going to say, because he's like, if she helps me, I'll help her. And I'm guessing it would be to have saved Jenny, but of course he gets killed off. But it could have been something else as well, because of course I think his goal was more than just, oh, get me out of prison. I think his goal, considering what happened to him, was to escape Pandora before she got killed, or before he got killed, because he knew that he was kind of a used up asset since he got caught. And it's like, alright, get me out of here and get me away from, the god. And I guess Pandora's a demigod or something. She's the daughter of somebody, is whatever. But it's get me away from these two people and I'll do whatever, I'll help you out with whatever you need help with. And unfortunately, he gets killed, or maybe fortunately, who knows? I mean, he was the bad guy, but he wasn't exactly doing too much. And oddly enough, even Pandora says it. It's like, it's not actually even the fact that he got caught that he was going to be killed. Like, that's what he thought. And then when he was with Pandora, she's like, it's not the fact that you got caught. Like, that doesn't really change anything. It's the fact that you used my box. Like, basically, like, this lowly human used a spell from my box to, summon some demons or something. And that kind of just pissed her off. And that's really why she killed him. And I was like, man, that kind of blows. Like, it's not even the reason he thought, like, oh, I can get out of being caught. Like, I didn't tell him anything or any of that. And it's like, it doesn't really matter what you told him. You used my box, and that's why I'm killing you. So that kind of sucked for him. And then, of course, Abbie had her little confrontation with Pandora before she, got distracted. And, of course, you turn around and turn back, the people are always gone. So, most of this episode was fairly normal. And it was fine. Like, I didn't dislike it or anything just because it was normal or whatever. I honestly forgot it was the fall finale, to be totally honest, until I went back and looked up the name for this episode. But I think it was a good fall finale. I don't know. I mean, with the new villain that they introduced, not much happened outside of him. Pretty much the whole episode was him almost killing Jenny because he was, like, absorbing his power back too forcefully. Like, he was doing it too much, and it was going to kill Jenny. And that was pretty much all he did in this episode, and he went from looking all mummified and gross with the bandages to just looking normal by the end. So, hasn't really done anything just yet outside of be like, I'm taking basically your life force at this point. So he hasn't really done much, but I'm looking forward to what they do with this character. I want to see him in sort of a... I mean, they do kind of have him in the fight scene because they go all out for the action scene at the end. Like, they went in with all sorts of weapons, and it's just like flashbangs, and Joe went in there just like Rambo with the machine gun, trying to shoot up the guy, but nothing was happening. And I like the fact that they actually use like ricochet sound effects. It literally sounded like when he got hit by bullets, it was just metal, which doesn't technically make sense because it's still skin and everything, but for some reason that made it cooler to me that they actually use like metal sound effects when he got shot, and it was just like nothing's happening. I guess you could count it as the bullets crunching or whatever. But I thought that was actually really cool. It's like he's getting shot up and nothing is happening. He's just walking forward. It's not like... I'm not sure if it was digital, but I believe it was because they didn't have like any of the little squibs or anything where like his clothes were even getting messed up. It was like even his clothing was bulletproof. It was like everything was just like ricocheting off of him. Bullets were just hitting him and nothing stopped him whatsoever. So I really did like that final scene. They were just shooting out the place, trying to shoot everybody. And it was really cool, everybody being only 2 people, but it was a really cool little action scene towards the end, and of course, works out pretty well. Like, they think all is lost, of course, because he crushes the rock. Abbie still saves her sister, and then Abbie has to take off, which, I don't know what would have happened. I mean, if she just separated it, because it barely worked to get, like I said, to get the powers out of Jenny to begin with. So, even if they did that, couldn't she have just, like, run away or something? Like, just throw one piece of the whole thing and then it's like, alright, that's all you get, and then they take off and just throw the other pieces of the rocks just wherever, and then you wouldn't have been able to siphon the rest off anyway, I'm assuming. But I don't know, we'll see what happens with her in this underworld or wherever it is, in between world, overworld, underworld. She's somewhere very, very different. I really do hope that we get to see it, because I was really curious when they showed that with Pandora, and I hope that, I really hope we get it, because we just haven't. We haven't had that at all this season, so I'm kind of looking forward to some sort of underworld type of deal. It probably won't be the same, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. And, excuse me, something they did that was pretty cool was kind of a callback when Pandora and Abbie had their little interaction. I believe it was after Nivens got killed, when Pandora talks about how Abbie didn't help Jenny out before, and that's why she's so determined to help her now. And they kind of did a callback really to like the very first season. I can't even remember I think Malik was the name, yeah, with Malik and like the white trees and everything. I was like, that's kind of cool. They haven't shown that. I'm pretty sure they showed it last season because they were still kind of dealing with Malik back then. At least the first half of the season they were. But it was really cool. I was like, that's a cool little callback. It wasn't like that big of a deal, but I was like, huh, this season has really kind of been separated a lot from the past two, because the last two were so well connected because of the Moloch stuff from all of season one to the first half of season two, and then it was just like insane after that, with their son and just everything that happened in that whole second half of the last season was just crazy. But this season has kind of been very separated. It's been, it's months apart from the last season, and everything's very different, and now, brand new villain and everything. So it's very separated from, the last two seasons, which were so tight-knit because for literally a season and a half, they just had Moloch as their villain. So it was kind of cool to have that little callback, because it's honestly, it is the most this season has tied in with the other two, and that's it's not to say that this season's bad because it doesn't connect, but it is kind of interesting because I hadn't really even thought of that until this episode. It was like, wow, this really doesn't connect too much to the last one because that was so separated. I mean, literally brand new everything for this season. Even the Horseman stuff is completely gone, and they do that in like the very first episode. And it's like Pandora sucks him up, and it's like, nope, no more Horsemen, no more Parish, nothing. There's no one whatsoever from the last two seasons, as far as the villains go. So it was a nice little callback. I'm looking forward to what this new villain's going to really do, since he hasn't done anything this episode, which is like get his power back and go from ugly to normal looking human. So I'm actually looking forward to what, I want to see a real show of force from this villain, because we haven't seen anything yet. And, he's supposed to be the one that makes Pandora look like a secretary or something like that, whatever Niven said. So I'm looking forward to seeing how powerful he really is. And of course, he's not going to be at 100% strength, but I would assume he'll still end up being more powerful than Pandora, because otherwise it would just be the same thing. So looking forward to that. We now have two villains for the show, which is pretty interesting, because I never expected that to happen. I thought it would just be Pandora. So now we have Pandora, her husband, which I totally forgot to mention that they were married. So we have the two of them, and Abbie's gone. She quit the FBI. She disappeared. We had Jenny, Joe, and Ichabod kind of just left to figure out what the heck they're gonna do. So I'm really looking forward to the show coming back. But I did enjoy this episode. Favorite part was definitely the ending stuff. Like probably the last 15 minutes, I think, encapsulated like all the best stuff of the whole episode, which was Abbie quitting, the weird mysterious stuff like, oh, the asset, her being such a great asset for something, of course her disappearing, and then I guess that's it. Those three things were like, all kind of happened in like the last 15 minutes, and the action scene as well, which I personally thought was actually really good, because they don't really go all out like that. So it was kind of cool to see that happen. And they have machine guns and everything, and grenades and this and that. So that was actually pretty fun to watch. But I don't know what to expect really with Abbie having walked into this tree. I'm looking forward to it though, like I said. But of course I want to know what you guys thought about this fall finale, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and I want to know what you guys think we're going to get from the second half of this season, because I want to see the underworld again. That would be another big thing to help tie into like kind of the last two seasons, because we haven't had that yet. We've only had the villain, and there haven't been like even any images of the underworld or anything like that. It's just been modern day. It's Pandora. The most we get of anything ancient is like Pandora's husband and just her using the box, and that's about it. We don't get to see, the underworld or anything like that, or where she went to get her husband back. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and I'm really hoping that we get. But I want to know what you guys think we're going to get, and what you want to see from the second half of this season. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.